Yeah, we saw the EFCC chairman, waxing lyrical, talking about how, he's been a man of integrity. He has done his, I think he was addressing a church. Was it a church? I don't know. Yeah. But I saw the video. I watched the video, and I was, to be sincere, I was quite impressed, with his pedigree and saying like, go verify, go and check me out, look at my background, and all. And at some point, they relieved him of his work because he wasn't going to play ball, and all. And eventually,
Was he relieved?
Yeah, they were relieved. He was, maybe there was suspension. Yeah.
During an investigation.
Investigation and all. The investigation lasted for like 2 years.
Yeah.
And all.
If it's somebody back after.
Yeah. If it's somebody that doesn't, know his onions, he will play ball now. He will say, I'm sorry, I did that, or God, and accept me back. But he stuck to his guns and he said he didn't do anything. Let them go and find out whatever, and all. Yeah. And I think that's how every, public office holder should be able to stand up and say, go and check me out. If there is anybody that can say they can tie anything to me, go and bring those, allegations, and then I'm willing to stand, in trial for that and all and everything. But one thing that he said that was also very, very, very interesting was, he said the religious organizations that they have won some of the most corrupt, that they're even more corrupt than the public or the private, sectors and stuff. And that's a big dent on a religious organization. I say religious organization because when we say religious organization, people just tend to I don't know, maybe because they feel like the Christian...
I think it's just church.
Yeah, maybe they think the Christian, denomination should be held to a higher level than everybody else.
Yeah.
So they are always attacking the church, but he said religious organizations and stuff.
Yeah.
So across board, the mosque, the babalawos, the abalis, whatever and all, all of them are corrupt and all. And they said...
He didn't say all of them are corrupt though.
Yeah.
So he said all of them are...
What did he say?
Is it they are more corrupt religious institutions than public offices?
He said...
Not that
some of them are corrupt. Some of them, say some of them are corrupt, are more corrupt than the public, and all. And I think that's something to really think about, really. So that's something to really think about. And I don't know what do you think about that?
Yeah, well, I mean, I think it's interesting he said that while he was in a church. Making that address. I think it showed his level of will I call it cojones now? Or, resolve in maybe speaking truth to power, because he was delivering that address in a church event and was able to tell them right to their faces that, look, in my time, as the chairman of the EFCC, I think that's the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, I've had more cause to see a lot of irregularities associated with people in religious institutions more than in public offices. And that's like a wake-up call to our spiritual and religious leaders to change, really. I think we've really flogged the issue of our churches and our mosques and how our
more
leaders...
More like the churches.
Well, we haven't really talked about the mosques in law because... Yeah, they're very low key in how they do their things. I'm not a Muslim, so I don't know how things are rolled here in a mosque. I don't know how the finances are put together, how they're dispersed. I don't know. I know that in the Christian setting, every church is like an island on its own, except if you're part of like a major, how do you call it, like a major denomination that has many branches. But a lot of the churches have their own general overseer. And then they are the lord of the churches. They decide what is spent on what, how much is spent on what, which money is raised goes to what, And they say ultimate power, they're saying that ultimate power corrupts, right? When you have a religious institution where the pastor is like, is seen as the next person to God, basically. And it's like, it has this cloak of infallibility. It's hard for people to question him, right? And I say that not everybody should be religious leaders, to be honest. Not everybody should be pastors. Not everybody should be apostles. Not everybody should be evangelists. Because the kind of requirements that all of these offices, demand from us, not a lot of us can pay the price right? We're talking about you having access to a lot of money and being able to still kill the temptation of greed, right? As a general overseer, you have seen the tithe contribution for the month. You enter 100 million. You are the signature to the account. It's that time that Instagram, we just throw one ad of one Benz, one GLE 2024 Benz. You just enter your For You page as pastor. And you just realize that, and there's 150 million in the church account. I can just swipe now and cop this for myself. You see? It is a strong level of spiritual discipline. And let's even leave spiritual aside. Integrity as an individual, as a person, to say, even though I have access to these funds, this is not my personal money to spend. I don't think we have enough religious leaders in Nigeria today that have that kind of character, that have that kind of personality, that have that kind of discipline, right? And for me, if you are failing at things like this, it maybe means that maybe you are not ripe to occupy those kind of offices. I've always said, when I said it in the past, they came for me. I think our churches, our mosques, our religious institutions, they should be regulated. I've always said it. I think they should be regulated. People should not be allowed to wake up one morning and say God called them, and then they don't start church. And they start to gather people together, and then they start to, put them under whatever influence they decide to put them under. It can be positive influence, it can be negative influence. There is nobody that can tell, because if someone comes to you and says, now God called me, can you tell him that God did not call him? That's the current state of our spiritual, situation in this country. Anybody can say God has called him, and then can gather people together and start speaking Holy Ghost, right? Mm-hmm. So I think that as far as regulation does not exist, right, we will always have this incident where a lot of people set up churches, gather people together, manipulate them, and then steal from them. And not only steal from them, subjugate them to be subservient to themselves, right? And be completely different from what it is that the spiritual book teaches us to be. And you know how religion is. Once you fall under the spell of your spiritual leader, it's hard for you to see them for what they are. That bias covers your eyes entirely, and you can't see clearly anymore. People like us that are maybe more neutral, we can see those things and call it out because we are neutral, right? We're not under their influence. But once you fall under the influence of your spiritual leader, God help you, that person doesn't have your real interest at heart. They're going to exploit you till thy kingdom come.
Yeah. I mean, I've listened to what you said, but I don't know about that regulation aspect of it. I say that because the question that I ask myself is, okay, the people that are actually regulating the supposed or the said religious organizations, who regulates them as well? I just talked about our government, how reckless they've been with their office, and the resources that Nigeria avails them. We've seen how reckless they are and all. The question is, who regulates the regulators? And all. At the end of the day, I think it still comes back to rest on the people themselves. Choose for yourself the type of leader that you want to follow, that is worthy of followership. And that's the reason why, if we go on protest, rightfully so too, we protest because we have not seen, or we have not benefited, or we have not enjoyed anything worthy of celebration in this government and stuff. And until the people begin to, make their leaders accountable, ask their leaders, to be judicious about what they are doing with their resources and stuff and all. I don't know. I don't really that. So for me, the question is, who regulates the regulators? Because
nobody regulates the regulators. Regulators are selected based on certain frameworks and expectations.
And then you now realize that
they will meet certain standards.
Yeah. And then you realize that they've been bought over.
Possible.
Yeah. We've been bought over. The EFCC guy, the EFCC man came out and said all the things that he said, and he was seen like, oh man. So we see have one person like that and all.
Yeah.
Up until somebody brings an allegation that actually, is true against him, he is standing on his feet and saying, okay, let anybody come out and accuse him of anything that is done that is wrong. And I think every leader should be able to stand like that too. Really. Every leader should be able to stand their grounds and say, I've ruled well, I've led well. If you have anything against me, bring it out and come and challenge me and all. And I sadly, like you said, sadly, not very many religious leaders can come. I'm saying religious leaders because I don't want to just stay with the churches, because I know it is in the name of religion that some people would say they need somebody's torso or somebody's head and somebody's breast or somebody's private parts, so that they can make another person prosperous and stuff. That is the highest level of inhuman, and at the end of the day, it falls down to money. It still falls down to money. You saw some people on TV. I think that was last 2 weeks or so. They were on TV. They said they were, they lured somebody that said he wanted a job and stuff, and they cut off his head. They cut off, if you see the way they said they were piecing apart somebody's body, they killed the person, they cut off their head and all. How much did they, sell the head? 50,000 naira. They sold the head for 50,000 naira. And I'm like, and you are still living, and all. It's in the name of religion that somebody is doing that, And so for me, I think to a large extent, we need people that, and at the end of the day, really, and I think that's why, this podcast may actually give you reasons to kind of sit back and think again, really, and ask yourself, why are you doing the things that you're doing? Why are you following who you are following? Why are you, supporting one political party at the detriment of your own friendship, at the detriment of, your family, and then you are supporting them. It seems like you are blind. You can't even reason. You can't even think. You think the Igbo man is your enemy. You think the Hausa man is your enemy and stuff. And you are not sitting down to ask yourself, the things that I'm hearing, is it something that I should be able to kind of, run with, and all. And I think those are the things that people should be able to, question and ask themselves and all. And if you are introspective and you're asking all those questions, you realize that we'll start having a more decent conversation amongst ourselves. You don't see your supposed brother, as your enemy and stuff and all, And now for me, I'm just looking at it from a wide angle. We're talking about the EFCC chairman and all. We're looking at it from a wide angle. All the people that the EFCC chairman that they said they are running after. Sadly, maybe I need to also, address when I was talking about the EFCC chairman the last time when I was saying that where is Yaya Bello and stuff. Apparently, I think he actually wanted to try those guys, but by the time they start to play the politics and stuff and all and everything, they take it out of his hands, and all. So at the end of the day, you react, what do you now want him to do? When he's sticking his head out and saying, I'm going to try this guy and stuff, and then they put politics into it, they start to say, it's your brother, and all, and everything, and all, and then before you know it, everything just dies away, and all. It's because of people that are put in different places to oversee and to do all these things that you're asking, to do oversight on all these things that you're asking. They are the one that is playing all these politics, and all. So it's a very sad situation, really. If you're talking about Nigeria, it just wants to kind of just make you sick.
I think on that note, I even want to say something because I recall when he during his speech in that church, he was saying how a lot of people gave him a lot of flack for the fact that he's all talk, no action, because they haven't seen the high profile conviction. And he was saying, listen, his job as an EFCC guy is to prosecute. Right? Conviction is the judiciary's job. When he presents all the evidence and facts, he is relying on the judiciary, the judges, the honorable judges, to make their rulings based on evidence provided. And he stopped short of saying the clear reality of what was happening because he didn't want to get involved in any issues. And he said, listen, what do they want him to do? When he has prepared his case, he has presented it, and then the people at the judiciary will come up with one funny, angle to say maybe an ex-governor, because he was saying he has arraigned 2 ex-governors. And the judiciary will just come up with one funny ruling to say this person cannot be convicted and given jail time. But what he always tries to do is ensure that even if you can't get jail time for these guys, they recover some of the loot that has been taken off. And he said he has done a lot of recovery, monies that has been recovered from these guys and taken back to the treasury. Right. So he's not being given a free hand to really do his job as well as he can. There are so many bottlenecks beyond just even his own, sphere that limit his effectiveness. And that brings me back to Tinubu as the president and his administration. I'm a little confused by the president, to be honest. Some of his appointments, they seem to have a kind of a scale between meritocracy and compensation or compensatory approach. There are some people that he has appointed, some offices where that, okay, these people he has put there, they are actual technocrats, they are people that know their onions, they have integrity, they are ready to do the work. And then there are some other appointments he has done. This is just compensation based on maybe you funded my election or you're able to help me get some votes. So take office, and I know that as a politician, he has to do that, right? He has to find a way to create that balance where you've made very important people to your success happy. And you've also tried to put the right people in the right peg in the right holes so that they can function. But I think that his inability to select the right balance of technocrats and the right approach of meritocracy in appointments is affecting his government. Because on one hand, you have people like Dave Umahi, the EFCC chairman, Bumi Tunjojo, who's the Minister of Interior, all these guys who are like passionate about doing the work, right? They are trying their best.
This Dave Umahi that you're always even talking about. I don't understand.
Let me finish now.
Okay.
Let me finish now. You have all these guys who are doing their best. And then on the other hand, you have some other funny guys that you've given appointments to. They are dragging their feet. They are frustrating you. I'm sorry. The Senate president. Mr. Akpabio.
That's Senate president.
We all know that he got that position based on Tinubu's doing.
That one is
that is a no-no for me.
A fluke.
Yeah. That office is not appointment, but that arrangement to put him as the Senate president.
It's appointments now.
Yeah. For me, nah. It set the Senate back a few steps back. It set them a few paces back. And that will create that lopsidedness in our government today, why the government is not efficient. On one hand, you see them and it looks like they are trying. It looks like Cardozo too, and all those guys, CBN governor. It looks like they are trying to do things. They're trying. Then it looks like there's another part of the wheel that is just set up to make these guys fail. And it's the same president that's appointing those guys as well. And it's like, how does the president expect the country to work when he has created these problems by himself? And I know he's trying to make people happy, but at some point, he needs to decide what's more important to him. Do you want to leave a legacy as president where, you turned around the fortunes of the country and people were happy and there was peace and prosperity? Or do you want to be remembered as just another politician who just, negotiated and bargained his way into office, did his 4 years or 8 years and then moved on? Nothing memorable about you. I think that's the decision that Mr. President needs to make. Because I'll be honest with you, at this point, I know people are about to go on protest and complain, and they have every right to, because the hardship is crazy. At this point, personally, I cannot even say 100% that President Tinubu is trying to sabotage the country. Do you understand? I can't say 100%. I can only say he's committing self-sabotage, because on one hand, it looks like he's trying to do the right things. And then you see some other things that looks like it's the opposite. Like, Oga, why are you putting these kind of people here? Why are you allowing these kind of things to happen? So, yeah, they always said Tinubu is an enigma. Like, an enigma is a personality you can't even understand. It's just out of everyone's league. I think he's an enigma. It's hard to understand why he's doing what he's doing or what he's even doing. But I wish him the best, to be honest, because things are not going right now.
Yeah. I've seen the Senate presidents maybe like 2 or 3 times. And what I got from it is unwatchable. It's not somebody that I want to watch talking because he doesn't seem to.
He's really crass, man.
Yeah,
like
he's. And then there was a time that he went to his home state, and I saw people running after him, praying and stuff and all. And I realized that that's actually why these guys are always, why they feel why they act and feel the way they feel and
100.
Stuff, because
100.
they have a lot of, I'm trying to look for the word for the people that are kind of
psychophants.
Yeah, a lot of psychophants that just follow them, and all. And I mean, it's self-sabotage. Like, I mean, that's the word to use. Like, you are sabotaging your livelihood. You're sabotaging your future. You're sabotaging, your what should be your legacy. You're just sabotaging it. I'm talking of the Nigerians now, and Nigerians need to begin to make good demands and ask their leaders to lead well, ask their leaders to lead right, ask their leaders to lead well, and do what is right, for the benefits, of the nation and all. You talked about Umahi. Well, I mean, I don't know what you have seen in Mr. Umahi, but I mean, there is really nothing that I can say. But for me, I'm not seeing anything that the man is doing. I know that they're still saying that they're going to cancel the coastal road, that the coastal road is not really working again.
Who says so?
I'm hearing rumors.
They're not
they said they're going to cancel it. Because
work is still ongoing.
Okay, work is ongoing.
Yeah, work is still ongoing.
Work is ongoing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, let's move on.